All right, my friends, welcome to episode 288 of Prof and Dev Play Games. My name is Larry. I am the Prof at Prof Plays Games on Twitter. Over there is Anthony the Dev at Summer Speak. How? Any big news this weekend for you?
No, nothing at all. Nothing happened. Um, nope, just a normal weekend where you go and get poked in the arm with a vaccine. So
Yep, that just happens all the time for
all the time.
to help pandemic.
Yeah. So yeah, that was easy. Both myself and my wife have both got our first doses at this point,
Awesome. That is
which
really good news.
which is crazy to think. You're like, oh, it just opened up in Washington for everybody on the 15th, which was Thursday.
Right.
My wife got her dose on Thursday for being on a wait list, and at the local pharmacy. They called her and was like, "We have an extra dose. Do you want it?" She's like, "Hell yeah, I'll
Yes,
be
I
right
do.
there." So got that, and then there's a website Washington Department of Health has up for Vaccine Finder, and I think for me it was actually Tuesday morning. I just would usually check it in the morning and put your zip code in, and then there was a Safeway, not too far from me, just across the ferry that I have to go to. But I was going across anyway, and I would make a special trip anyway if that's the only place I could get it. But yeah,
Right.
they had a bunch of appointments starting Thursday and going until like the next Tuesday. So just clicked a couple things, entered name and information, and boom,
Yay.
it was easy. It was super easy. So
Yeah, it's nice that it's getting easier to get,
yeah,
even with J&J on the shelf right now.
yeah. I
You got
think
Pfizer, I think, right?
yeah, Pfizer.
Yeah,
My wife got Pfizer.
nice.
And yeah, I don't. There's been stuff on the local news around here with the Johnson & Johnson being held currently, but it was such a small percentage of actual dosages in Washington State, like
Hmm.
less than 5% of all our vaccinations have been Johnson & Johnson here. Like it's
Yeah,
very much been Moderna and Pfizer are
right,
the two that the state has gotten the most of. I guess because we're not very rural overall. Um,
right.
where the majority of our population is in more city centers, even on the east side, really, Yakima and Spokane,
Hmm.
um, that it's easier to store them. So yeah, it worked. I'm very happy. I'm relieved to get this started.
It is such relief.
Yeah,
Being fully vaccinated now and realizing that most of my friends here are too, like we can start hanging out a little bit.
yeah.
I went to my favorite tea shop that I haven't been to in 14 months, and I literally cried just being in there and like remembering all my happy times there, and just seeing it kind of like all the tables and chairs and everything just up and away, and finally able to go out and do my own shopping and feeling comfortable enough to do that. I mean,
Yeah,
um, and all that stuff. So it's really cool. And we're planning a couple vacations this summer, which I haven't. My wife and daughter have done a couple of small things, but I haven't felt comfortable doing it. Now I do. So it's
yeah,
a little bit of normalcy. It's nice.
yeah,
But I guess we're gonna have to all get boosters eventually. So
yeah. Just don't keep. I see a bunch of misinformation that gets spat around that they're like, it's going to be in 6 months. You have to get a booster. No, the specifics that have said is it will the vaccine will last at least 6 months. They don't actually know how long it's going to last because we're currently checking that in real time.
yeah, exactly.
Eventually, I mean, I guess the people at earliest who were in the test pool will be the first to signal, hey, their antibody counts are getting low. We need to booster. But no one
Or
knows exactly when that would be. 6 months, a year, more? Who knows? We'll
right,
find out.
exactly. So what you're saying is in 6 months I need a booster. Just kidding.
Exactly. No, I saw that go around a bunch of stuff. They're like, it's only going to be, got to do it in 6 months. I'm like, that's not what it says.
Anthony, you're reading science though. Come on.
I'm reading a
Supposed to
headline that says
sensationalize
at
everything.
least 6 months, not a booster at 6 months.
Yeah.
Those words are different.
Words don't have any meaning anymore. I don't know if you were told that.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I know it sucks for us educated folks to understand that's the reality, but it's all about a meme. A dog coin that
Dogecoin.
a Dogecoin,
Dogecoin.
which I also bought and made money off of, just full disclosure, that is absolutely meaningless. It's just a meme, is a thing. So, our world
Yes.
sucks.
It's been around for a long time, I'll be honest.
Which one?
Dogecoin.
Oh, yeah. No, the coin
Yeah,
has,
it
and
was
so
it was
has.
a joke back when Bitcoin was starting, and like there was a big influx of just like a ton of different uh uh God, what are they called?
Cryptocurrency.
Cryptocurrencies. Thank you.
Yeah.
Because there was a whole bunch when Bitcoin was starting to take off, like in the beginning of like, oh, what's this funny thing, Bitcoin? Um,
Well, I'll make one. It's
oh,
a
look at all
Dogecoin.
these other people reading the paper on like what the technology is like. Let's make silly fake cryptocurrency things like Dogecoin because it's based on a meme and it's funny. Um, but I guess it can still be a meme and make people money. Just like 10 years later.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, for me, it was over the weekend, but still.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy, though. People are like YOLOing their entire life savings. I put $20 in.
Oh, of
And I
course.
feel like a king.
Of course, people are gonna do that.
Good.
Oh yeah, it started in 2013.
Dang.
Yeah, I was still at PopCap, and I remember, yeah, this was a thing. I had conversations about this. I had a coworker who was like, "Yeah, I'm buying Dogecoin in like 2013," because they were just like, "This is hilarious. I love the meme, so I'm just gonna buy. I'm gonna put like $50 into it. Why the hell not?" And buy. At
I
that
hope he
point,
held it until now.
who knows? Do they even still have access to that wallet? Who knows?
I know. I forgot my password to that wallet. Oh my God. So crazy. Well, it's like, I don't know, not jump the shark, but like I don't know if it's super mainstream, but like my cousin's texting me and saying Doge is at 8, buy some. I'm like, okay, I guess I will.
My God. Okay.
Yeah, it's at that point now.
I
Anyway,
mean, yeah.
this is not the crypto podcast, although it could be. This week, we're talking about the Nintendo Indie World Showcase that happened, I believe, on the 14th. Was it last Wednesday?
Yeah, it was on Wednesday.
Yeah, cool. And I gotta say, overall, sometimes these indie showcases have a couple of games that stand out to me, and the rest are like, This one had, I thought, a lot that looked really interesting.
There
I'm
was a
looking
lot of
forward to
cool
hearing what you
stuff.
thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was. It looked really solid. What'd you think?
I thought it was really good. Maybe it's just us being like hungry for any kind of information, of any
Maybe.
kind of announcements whatsoever. So we're like, yeah, this is great. But I actually do think there are some really cool looking games in there. Like they opened it with Road 96, which I'm like, I'm all in to play this thing. It looks trippy and weird.
Yeah, it looks nice. Like visually, it looks nice. It's a narrative
Yep.
adventure game that it's like a telltale with like lots of branching choices. It seems like.
Yeah. And branching choices and clearly like maybe different multiverse stuff going on potentially. Like it's right up my alley for us to a strange adventure game, ideally telling a pretty good story. But yeah, visually it looks really cool. They've done a good job of finding an art style that can run well on the Switch, but stand out, which is important because the Switch can't run a whole hell of a lot photorealistic at all. So
Yeah, you got to stylize your art for the Switch
a lot.
and if I don't know. I think that kind of art style holds up anyways. Like I
Yeah.
keep thinking about Wind Waker because it's always on my brain.
Yeah.
And even now, that's still, the Wii U version looks amazing. So I don't need photorealism in most of my games,
Yeah.
to be honest. But yeah, the Road 96 looked awesome.
Yeah.
The next one is the one I'm the most excited about. And I think there's a demo. Oh, I haven't downloaded it yet. There is a demo, but it's Aerial Knights Never Yield, which is like a running game with like a hip hop soundtrack, and it has some sort of narrative hook to it. I just really liked the look of it and the sound of it.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure if like the style looked very. I don't know if it's like cell shaded, but then there was like an 8-bit almost runner inside of it, and I'm not sure how that
Yeah.
works going back and forth, but it looks cool. I liked his story. I don't know, what his circumstance was, but it's a black game developer who's like, I couldn't get my game developed or something like that. I couldn't get in the industry, and here I am making my game.
Yeah.
And being featured here, it's pretty cool.
No, it's really cool. I'll probably give it a chance. I'm not huge into the runner genre anymore. Like I feel, unfortunately, that I've tired of that genre quite a bit. But maybe that's just playing a ton of them. The phone, the infinite runners.
Oh yeah, I haven't played too many. My daughter
Okay.
and I play Runner 3. Just the first 2 levels where she just needs to jump. Because when you
Uh-huh.
start doing like the kicking and sliding or whatever, she's like,
Yep.
yeah, I'm done.
Like
But yeah,
Temple Run was one of the biggest ones.
what's it called?
Temple Run was
Mm,
probably the biggest, and that's like you're behind the character as they're
mm,
infinitely running through ever increasingly difficult maps, and yeah, you're just trying to get as far as you can. It's a pretty time like timeless genre in some ways. It's just been around for a long
yeah.
time. Cannonball was the first one, breakout one back in the phone days. Maybe it was on Flash, a Flash game as well back in the day.
Hmm.
2009. Yeah. So I remember we looked at stuff like that at PopCap a lot because, well, we were making mobile games too. So
But you
we
never made a runner, right?
we didn't.
Yeah.
I don't even think we had one internally that we ever prototyped or looked at. Like it just no one internally was like, "Oh, we're gonna destroy this genre with it." But we enjoyed playing them and talking about them. So
Yeah, maybe this one will. The hip hop.
yeah, yeah.
The soundtrack sounds really
Soundtrack
good.
was cool.
Yeah.
Did you find it weird that it had like the Japanese thrown in there?
Very weird. Even
Okay,
in the title here, I'm like
I know.
looking
I
at it, I'm
was
like,
like, huh.
I'm not sure what that's all about. Like I heard something that was like in the video or whatever. It said like a Tokyo style Detroit, and I was like, a what?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
I mean, that's why I'll probably
That's
have to play the
weird.
demo and just see. But props to him for putting it out, getting Nintendo to feature it. Um,
Yeah, and props to Nintendo for featuring it. I
yeah.
think that's great. The next one was Last Stop, and I don't know much about that one. Do you?
No, not at all. These two from uh, Annapurna, I don't know much about at all. But I will probably at least see what people say about them when they come out because Annapurna has put out some good stuff.
Yeah, they're
Um,
a good publisher.
yeah.
Or at least
They
interesting stuff.
yeah.
Um,
So
Last Stop is a third-person adventure set in London. You play as 3 separate characters navigating a supernatural crisis as their paths cross. That comes out in July. And then Hindsight is the other game. It's a narrative game centered on an older woman reminiscing about her family, and you dive into her memories and decisions. Interesting.
I mean, both could be pretty emotional and really compelling overall. So,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
I think
any
it's Annapurna. Like they're gonna publish things that they also feel have that edge to them as well. So,
right. No, any story where you're diving into memories
yeah.
always gets me. Like my daughter and I just loaded up. I'll talk about it later, but Unraveled.
Okay.
Um, and it's about the beginning is this old woman who goes to pick up her yarn and drops a yarn ball, and then Yarny is created. But then you kind of see memories of this kid like playing with the toy, and my daughter's like, "What? Where did he go? What? He looks sad. What's happening?" She got all sad. I was like, "Oh boy, wait till you see the rest of this game."
You're like, oh, this is not an uplifting thing.
No, it's definitely sad by the end.
Yeah.
So anyway, Ollie World was next.
Yeah. I'll do this one.
Dude, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even know that this was being made, but I don't know. It looks great style, art style, and everything.
Really great.
But
They changed it apparently.
yeah, the depth of the like very simple gameplay seems to be there. Just the different paths and the scale of the worlds you're in this time. So I was impressed.
I was too. Like the art style took when I first heard it was Roll 7, I was like, oh, it's another Ollie game. And they've been all right, but it's like a pixel kind of skateboarding
Yep.
game that hasn't been super interesting to me. But this visual style looks really cool. And the fact that you can kind of like skate in different areas and seems like there's a lot more exploration and not just
Yeah.
skating.
Branching paths and things like that. Like it truly feels like the next evolution of that type of game. Like this is like a true sequel. Funny that they call it World, and Monster Hunter World was also that same thing. Maybe that's what you have to do. Just put World in the title after
World.
And that means it's the new thing that reinvents the old thing.
Let's get some Peggle World then.
Oh god. Let's not bring up Peggle anymore. I'll just be sad.
Gotta mention it once a podcast.
Yep.
But no, the art style is fucking great. And
Yeah.
what is this? Winter. It's coming out winter this year.
Yep.
Supposedly. So
Hopefully, cross fingers. The next one, I was like, What the hell is this?
Oh yeah,
The
is
Longing,
the longing.
where it's like
You,
passes in 400 days real time.
yeah. At first, when I heard that, I was like, they didn't mean real time. Oh no, they did. They
They
they meant
did.
real time. Okay.
It's a great. I don't know if it's gonna be a good game or anything, but when we're talking about like games needing a hook to get in people's minds to make them remember it, this is a great hook. Like, you hear that and you're like, what the fuck did they just say? How does that work? It makes a person want to look more at what this game is. Even if they
I,
like it or not, you will
right.
get more information.
And I feel like it almost like it's compelling me to pick it up because I want to see what happens after 400 days. I could just
Yeah.
wait and find out from someone else, but that's a really interesting concept. I don't know how the hell that's going to be compelling over 400 actual days. But I like the idea where like you're waiting for the king to wake up.
Yep. And
um,
maybe it's a game that you play for a little bit each day for 400 days. Like, I don't know. They don't tell you, and they don't really show you a ton in the trailer beyond the fact that you do mundane things. And you walk very slowly.
very slowly. I was like, oh, is this oxen free?
Oh, we'll get there. We'll get to
Yeah.
that.
It was funny that I thought that, and then
Yeah,
later we got to yeah. There is no game is I guess a game that's been out for a while, or
I
do you know
guess
about this
so.
game?
I don't know. I think I've heard of it before. Yeah, just kind of one of these jokish type games.
Oh, it's the Dogecoin of the Indie Direct.
Kind of, yeah. Like it's a meta, one of those meta jokey games about games.
Yeah,
Um, so I don't know. It looked fine, but I kind of not super into that kind of genre anymore as much. Like, I think the last one I
yeah,
played any of was Stanley Parable,
right.
which was fine. Um, but all
I'm
those
just
I felt all riffed off of Portal to begin with.
yeah, I'm just not into games that are trying to be funny.
Yeah.
There's a game that I'm playing right now with my daughter that I'll talk about later. That's like old and trying to be funny, and I'm sure maybe it was funny, but it's not at all funny to me. Anyway,
Comedy is
after this one
hard.
was the game of the direct, by the way.
Oh, really?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. Yes, dude. This is. I haven't played anything. I haven't played it. I know this will be my game of the year for the whole year. I don't even.
That's nostalgia talking right there,
It
everyone.
is. That's fine. I fully admit that. I cannot wait for this game. Every time a Turtles game comes out, it's just not been great. Remember how excited I was for that Platinum Turtles game?
Yep.
It
It
was
was
not
not
great.
good.
No, it was not good. This looks like it's going to be good.
Yeah.
And if it's good, oh man. But there's no date. Still no date.
Later this year. No
I
date.
hope so.
Later this year, though. So we'll find out.
Boy.
I think it looks cool. I mean, I'll probably pick it up and play it just for nostalgia's sake.
You played the old games, right?
Yeah, I played them in the arcade.
Yeah.
What console did they come? Did they come out on Super Nintendo at all?
Well, Super Nintendo was Turtles in Time.
Yeah, and I played
But
that on Super Nintendo, but I played them in arcades. Like,
oh, okay. Yeah, because Manhattan Project was NES, and then Turtles, whatever the second one was called, was also on the NES. Um, Man, we would rent that from Figuritos
yep,
and just play the shit out of it, and then bring it back and then get rented. We probably
yeah,
rented it like 50 times.
yep,
Should have just bought it to.
yep.
Oh well.
Trying to
Anyway,
think of what arcade. It was either in the Pizza Hut arcade or the Round Table arcade, like
probably
machines back there,
yeah, round table.
or the one in the
Oh
Bayshore Mall. There's the arcade in there too for the longest time.
God, I don't remember that. Mm.
It was right next to what was it before GameStop? One of them. Was it Babbage's or was it EB
Oh,
Games?
EB.
Was EB in the Bayshore Mall?
Yeah, it was EB Games.
Yeah, it was right next to EB.
Boutique.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, before it was even EB Games, it was Electronics Boutique. Yep.
Yep.
Where I go buy all my PC games.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
I remember
boy.
going there with my mom once for some reason. I don't know why she went there. Weird.
So
Anyway.
you're like this before. Wow, why would you go there?
Yeah, exactly. She wasn't there for yeah. She lives on WoW now. After this was Chris Tales. I don't know if it's an RPG set in a dark fairy tale world, but I don't know anything about it besides
I
that.
don't know anything about it. The art style again was striking to me, and I'm like, I'm down for an action RPG, indie action RPG with a cool art style and maybe some like fairy tale stuff going on.
Yeah,
It
I think
does.
yeah,
Does
go
it
ahead.
have it says it has a demo available?
Shit, yeah, I need to too. I'm intrigued. Everything you just mentioned, but also it seems like the protagonists are female.
Yeah.
The mechanic is turning your enemies younger so they're easier to take down. Like
Oh,
there's a
right.
couple of
Yeah, yeah.
things.
There was some cool stuff mechanically there. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Like just some experimental stuff that sounds cool. Yeah, I'm gonna download that demo as well. Should have done it before the podcast, but it's been a busy week, so I did not download either of the demos I could have.
A little bit. A little bit.
Next is Getsu
Gets
Fama Den.
Getsu
Did I
Fumadin.
Getsu Fumaden, Undying Moon.
Fumadin.
It's a hack and
Yep.
slash game.
It is. It's in that line of the 2D Souls games in a lot of ways. It looked like.
And it's a follow up to a game that came out on the Famicom that never came out of Japan.
Okay.
It says if you buy Undying Moon during its early access period starting May 13th, you'll get a copy of the Famicom game as well. Full game coming 2022. Interesting.
That's cool. Yeah, I don't know if this is for me. There's been a few games that have come out in the past couple of years that have done the I don't even want to call it tactical combat. Very soulsy in your committal to attacks and blocks and management. So it could be cool. Not completely my style though, but I'm sure it will have at least some audience. And it's Konami, which is crazy. So it must be Konami who did it back in the day too. The first one that never saw the light of day outside of Japan.
Right. Unless it's in a pachinko machine, I guess.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, remix the Konami classic. Interesting.
Yeah.
A 2D action Roguevania. I've never heard that term. Roguevania.
Roguevania. It's a 2D roguelike. There you go.
Yeah, okay. The next one I thought looked awesome. Yeah. Aztech, Aztech, Forgotten Gods, 3D action. I don't know if it's a 3D action game set in Aztec mythology.
Yeah.
And it's coming from Mexican game studio, Mesoamerican Metropolis. I'm fucking there. ARM upgrades. It looked fucking rad. It looked really good.
Yeah. It's out this autumn. So, yeah, this one, not on my radar at all. They really did a good job, I'll say, with this World Spotlight of actually spotlighting people from around the world.
Yeah, they did. And maybe it's because it's around the world, but spotlighting games that look solid, at least from this, advertisement, basically, that I've never heard of.
Yeah.
I think the only one that I heard of from here in this entire, obviously, Turtles. And then the next one, Skull. Which is on PC.
I didn't play it. I haven't played this or even heard of this one. Roguelite 2D platformer. Yeah,
this is one that our friend Travis has played. So I saw him playing on Steam, so I clicked through and looked at it. It looked pretty cool. It's basically, he says it's Dead Cells, except for instead of different weapons, you just get different heads. You have different skulls, and those give you different abilities. But he said if you like Dead Cells, you'll like Skull. I like Dead Cells.
I do like Dead Cells. Do I like Dead Cells enough to play more games like it after Hades?
That's the thing. My question is, do I like Dead Cells enough to play more Dead Cells after playing Hades? I'm not sure.
I don't think so. That's the thing. I'm like, I could just go play Hades again, which does a lot of the same, gives me a lot of the same feeling that I want in I'll say it, an even better game. Not that Dead Cells was a bad game. It's just Hades is even higher, more down that path of insanity and in the polish and the tuning of its systems. So it's a hard thing whenever you're other games in that genre, especially the roguelite type genre, 2D now or isometric or whatnot.
Yeah, it's hard because I would call Hades game of the generation. A game of the generation.
Yes.
It's decade or whatever. In what is it, 20? It came out last year, right? Well,
yeah.
1.0 was last year, 2020.
Yeah.
So I think in 2030, we're still talking about that game being amazing. So.
Yeah. So I think it's hard, and I think it's rough for genres that have games that come out at that level. I think you'll see it with the game you mentioned before we started recording. It was Curse of the Dead Gods.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think because of when it released, it hasn't seen. I think I've watched some streams of it. It looks really cool and really well done. But I think because of how it released and then how well Hades has done and stayed like in people's minds, has hurt other games in that genre.
Yeah,
Like
right.
it's hard to compete against Hades right now. So,
well, it's such an interesting genre too, because in some genres where 10 hours, 20 hours, you beat the game, you're done. You want to move on to a new experience. Hades, like, first of all, it's a long game, and then it has a post game, and then it has a post game, and then after you do all that, you could still keep doing different runs and doing different builds. So,
yep,
you kind of never end with that.
Yeah, it does a good job of having that chase for. So,
right.
What's next? Oh, Art of Rally. This was on Steam already as well. It came out sometime last year. Some people at work were playing it and really enjoying it.
Oh, cool.
I don't. So the only thing I'll say here is watching the trailer for the Switch, there is noticeable graphical problems.
Even in the trailer.
Yes, there's really bad pop-in of like trees and terrain and stuff going on, like which is not in the PC version. So I think this might be pushing the Switch a little hard, even though it looks very nicely like stylized. So
yeah, it looks stylized, but underneath it could not be optimized, right? And that could
exactly, or optimized for the Switch. The Switch is not an easy piece of hardware to optimize for. I mean, it is mobile phone hardware. So
right,
and not even mobile phone hardware like the latest iPhones. The latest iPhones have more CPU and GPU power than the Switch. So yeah.
Dang, that's rough.
It is rough.
I guess I have an 8, so I guess maybe that doesn't apply to mine, but you're thinking like the new ones, right?
Like an 11 or 12. Yeah. So, yes. The Switch does great things for its size and everything, but it is not high powered in any way.
Right. Well, Nintendo's always so good at squeezing out what they need out of that kind of stuff. Speaking of Switch, real quick, new blue Switch, which looks sort of purple, but whatever. Looks kind of nice. The Switch Lite, I should say.
Yeah.
Two other things that stood out in this montage at the end. There was Fez, which I've never played and even never really looked at, but I own it on like 3 platforms just because it was free at some point, and it looks awesome.
Yeah.
Like, how the hell did I never play this game? I need to go back and play that.
Fez is a good game. You like platformers? I bet you'll enjoy Fez.
Yeah, I think just from based on that video, I was like, I need to buy this game. Like, no, I own this game many times.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go play it. But it was Fez, Art of Rally, Kiwi, but then Labyrinth City, Pierre the Maze Detective. Solve puzzles based on the children's book series. I've never heard of it. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, my kids get these books all the time from the library.
Oh, dude, never heard of it.
I saw these come out, and they're great. My kids love them. It's just like giant, like this. So this is like a bigger book, hardback bound book, and it's just you flip it over, and it's 2 pages doing a big scene, and there's a starting point and an end point, and you got to work your way through the maze of whatever the scene is. And there's always usually other things to find in the scene. They're like, oh, find the like 6 stars that are in here, or like the 4 trophies that are hidden around. But yeah, my kids love it. I saw it too, and I was like, no fucking way. This is my kid's book. I'm gonna totally get this.
That's so cool. I'm gonna go check out the book, because that sounds like something my daughter would be super into.
They're fun. They're really fun. Yeah, so it's crazy to see that it's actually going to be a game, though, and then you'll be like walking these scenes, and actually a lot of stuff that they showed in the trailer are actual pages from the books.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah,
they just put their books into a game, and then you can traverse through. That's so cool.
Yeah, or someone licensed to do it, but it's a good choice. Oh, yeah. I think it's a great opportunity. So yeah, I'm there for it. My kids are probably there for it. I could see us having a lot of family fun time with this one.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. Also, speaking of that, family fun time, Beasts of Maravilla Island basically looks like a Pokemon Snap.
Yep. But not Pokemon.
But not Pokemon, right? Just different beasts and animals and stuff. And it has a female photographer, which is also pretty cool. So you have to take photos of the animal. I guess is what Snap is, the animals doing certain things or whatever. You're filling out your book.
Yep.
And then there was Ender Lily's Quietus of the Nights, which is like that title I don't like, but whatever. 2D action RPG about unraveling the mysteries of a destroyed kingdom, and I look at it and it looks like Salt and Sanctuary kind of. It's probably like a
Yeah,
2D Soulsy kind of game. It says
probably.
Metroidvania,
Yeah.
Souls-like, dark fantasy.
Yep.
Two of those three things I like. I'll let you guess which one I don't.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. Again, they go through all that. I guess we'll finish this out, and then they have one more thing.
Yep.
And it starts up, and I'm like, and they just start showing the beginning, and I was like, isn't Oxenfree already on the Switch?
That's what I was thinking too. I was like, your one more thing is a game that's already there.
And then it kept going. I was like, oh, I think is this a sequel? And it is. Oxenfree 2, Lost Signals. And the first thing that came to my mind at that is, can I run in this one? Please?
I thought the same thing.
Not that I dislike Oxenfree. I think it actually was a pretty good game. I'm glad we played it back when we did. And I don't like look back at it like, oh, that was bad experience. I was like, no, it's a pretty cool experience. If I could run, it would make it even better.
Yep. With a game that you're backtracking so much, you have to have a run button.
Yeah. But it's cool to see them. I'm actually excited to try out the second one and see where the story goes at this point.
I think it's pretty cool. Night School, right? Is that her name? Night School?
Yeah. Yep.
To take a game that did really well, but there were, I think, more positives than negatives, and then to be able to refine that in a second game, like Ben's studio is not allowed to do with Days Gone 2, is cool because I'd like to see where they take that, because that was good. I didn't play their other one, the what was it, like a bar or a high school or something? God, I can't remember what that second game was. I didn't try it out, but it sounded pretty cool. Night School Studio. Let's see. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Probably if
After Party. That's it.
I never played it, but I know what you're talking about.
Yep. Escape hell with your best bud.
Okay, that's actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have played this one. I got mixed reviews. Nothing horrible, but sitting around the 70s.
Yeah.
Mid-70s.
Right. Yeah, interesting. Well, I'm glad. I'm excited to check out Oxenfree 2. But just looking at this entire Indie World Showcase, I'm like, I have a list of 5 games that I'd like to play that I never have coming out of an Indie World Showcase. I usually have 2 or 3. This is maybe 5, 6, 7. And I think partially you're right. We're in a bit of a drought, but also there were some pretty solid games here.
Yeah, I think I think going back to what we discussed last week, it shows the power of indies of giving a wide variety of game types. There's games here for pretty much anybody, for whatever type of game you're looking for.
Right.
And indies do put out lots of good games. So I don't think there's a thing where you're like, oh, well, I want to play a game like this, but is the quality there? I'm like, yeah, the quality is probably there through a lot of these. And especially if Nintendo's showing them. Yeah. Nintendo cares, and they'll vet the quality of what they're showing. So I'm pretty excited. I actually did really, really enjoy this. I came out of it, like you, with a bunch of games that I'm like, oh, I haven't heard of these, but they're on my radar now, and I will probably play them when they come out. And the thing is, with indies, these are probably not going to be super expensive either.
Yeah,
that's 20, $30, 15, probably 15 to 30 range. Right. With Oxenfree 2 probably on the more expensive side.
Yeah, I wonder if that Turtles will be the same. I would assume with that license.
Yeah, they have licensing. 20 or 30, somewhere 30. In there. Yeah.
Whatever, I don't care. I'm buying it.
Yeah.
I'm probably on multiple platforms. But it is setting up. I don't know. It's always fun at the beginning of the year to kind of look at the different presentations and kind of chart your gaming journey throughout the year. And this year has been tough to do that. But this has really given me a couple of signposts. Summer is going to be rad. I'm taking summer off. I'm not teaching. I just have some admin work, and I'm really going to be digging into some games.
Yeah.
So there's a couple here I want to dig into.
Yeah, I'm excited. Seems pretty good. And then at the end, they also were like, hey, there's a bunch of games on sale. Indie games on sale. Until, I think, the 25th.
That's a while.
Which is their
any standouts for you from that
World
list?
Sale. I mean, Hades. If you don't own Hades on the Switch, you can get it for $5 off right now.
Yep.
So
do it.
I mean, it's a lot of good games. We talked about Hades. We talked about Dead Cells as well.
Hmm.
Like that's on there. Terraria's on there. Ori and the Will of the Wisps is on sale. Um, Jackbox
Katana
Party
Zero.
Pack.
Yes, Jackbox 7 is on there. That's
Yeah,
I don't have that one yet. I should probably grab that.
Katana
Um,
Zero. Yep.
have you played that yet, Katana Zero?
Nope.
I don't know if it's your thing. Um,
I know it's $9. Is $9 my thing?
well, I mean, you could buy
Maybe.
$9 of Doge.
That's true. But then it might make me a millionaire then. I might, have diamond
Yes.
hands and go to the moon.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Um,
I know the terms.
I was like, Jesus Christ, have you been hanging out on the Wall Street
Nope.
Bets subreddit?
You don't have to hang out on the Wall Street Bets. You just have to hang out on like Twitch and watch people stream and use the goddamn memes
Jesus
everywhere.
Christ. Yeah, exactly. Katana Zero just is what's that fucking game? Hotline Miami, but like side scrolling and a really cool story. Like watch some videos and see it. I love that game a lot. Grindstone is a good one. River City Girls, if you're looking for a beat 'em up until you get turtles, that's a great one. I'm probably gonna pick up Ollie Ollie Switch Dance. I didn't realize that had come out. And I might check that one out. Carry On. I'm back on Game Pass, so I'm probably gonna play that one there. But
Is you say Curse of the Dead Gods? Like
yeah, Curse of the Dead Gods, $15, $16.
I can say this will be a plug for a coworker's boyfriend who worked on Superliminal.
Oh yeah, Superliminal.
Yeah, so she posted that when that came out last year, being like, "Hey, look at my boyfriend finally released a game. It came out."
It's really cool how it fucks with perspective, that game.
Yeah. So
I've heard a lot of good stuff about Coffee Talk, but I've never played it. I almost picked it up actually to play with my wife one night. And then No Straight Roads I've also heard about, but I don't remember anything about it. I just know that I heard about it. I don't know if that helps.
I mean, that's how a lot of this works, and especially in indies, is if you can even say, "Oh, I have heard of that," that's a big thing. So
that's a big win for them. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Inventive musical brawler.
Yep.
Interesting.
So I don't know. There's a lot of cool stuff on there right now on sale that honestly, even if you bought Hades, there's a couple 100 hours of game.
Yeah. I mean, that's first on the list, folks, if you haven't bought that game. Oh yeah, Evergate. That's right. The one that looked like Ori.
Right.
Is another one that's on sale there. Man, and now that things are somewhat opening up a little bit, you might actually be traveling around with your Switch a little bit.
Yep.
Some good games to pick up.
So yeah, I think it was a good little event for Nintendo.
Yeah. And gamers in general, because a lot of those games are coming out to other platforms too. So.
Yep. So I think it was cool to see. Like I said, we wanted a lot. Really hungry for info and new games and industry news in general. But I think this was still well done. Nintendo presented all this stuff really well. They put together a good portfolio of indie games to sell the Switch, basically. Go like, hey, you don't have to just wait for the big games to come out. Here's a bunch of cool stuff that you could play over this year that you might not have heard of. So
right.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
So what have you been playing this week?
Earlier in the week, Monster Hunter Rise. I actually beat the final boss.
Oh, nice.
I quotes around final. Because truly the story is just like, oh yeah, there's going to be more. It ends on a cliffhanger. So.
And that's filled in by the next release?
Though in summer. Not the next one, immediate one, but the next one that they've announced, which I mean, the next update they said is end of April, so it's this week or next week. We're getting the first update, and then I think probably the one after that they've said it's summer. I would expect is end of June, beginning of July, sometime in there. So yeah, but I beat it. It was really cool. The actual final boss mission was really cool. I liked it way better than World's final boss.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't nearly the slog that World's final boss was. This had some cool mechanics in it and used a number of mechanics you had used in other places in the game and recontextualize it all into this cool boss fight. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, beat that and then started at night just playing with friends, helping them grind out, getting through their different star rankings and hunter ranks so they could get to the end. Farming monsters, trying to put together that perfect set, which I did by the end of by about Wednesday, Thursday. I've got like my perfect charge blade set, all my armor and everything, and then the only things that make it better now is to just play the game a lot, make a bunch of random talismans until I get the skill I want on the talisman, because that's the RNG element of the game. So, it's talisman grinding, where World had more RNG in the socketables. You had to randomly get rewarded socketables. So, this game, you craft all your gems to go in sockets, but you can't pick your talisman. You have to roll for these talismans, and you just gotta get what you get until you get something you want. So, yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's a really fun Monster Hunter. I will continue to play it. I might likely taking a quick break, because the other thing I've been playing is Path of Exile.
Oh my god, new season?
New league started on Friday.
Uh-huh.
And they had probably the worst launch ever in one of their leagues. It was terrible. Let's go through. It's all fixed now. Let's just say, within 24 hours, everything got fixed. Very playable now. Everything works. So you get in. They have a queue system to get in. Normally the queue goes at like 3,000 a minute. And so I'm like in a queue at like 60,000. So I'm like, okay, I'll be a little bit, but not insane. Like, that's normal queues for a league start. But it was going at like 300 a minute or less at the start. And like the queue, like, was at 60,000. The queue at its highest point was 180K. Like, people at that rate wouldn't get to play for 12 hours or more.
Right.
So that's insane. There was a problem. Something got missed that had to happen when switching between leagues, like when the last league ended a week ago and this one's starting, which caused the problem. They fixed that and they got the queues running fast again. Within like an hour, that got alleviated. Great. So that started rolling. Everyone's quick to get in the game. You get in the game, you're playing. Almost like clockwork, every 10 minutes, disconnected.
Oh, dude.
Like, just disconnect, and even had rollback. Like, sometimes you'd have rollbacks of like you were minutes before you disconnected again.
Wow.
And that went on for almost, I think it was like 14 to 16 hours. They were trying to figure out what happened, what went wrong.
Yeah.
They eventually fixed it out and figured it out and to play, but it really wrecked them. And then on top of that, they had done a lot where they had paid some pretty big streamers to play the game for 2 hours at the start.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're talking, they probably spent $100,000+ on some of these streamers.
And are they paying streamers that are familiar with the systems in the game?
Nope.
Oh boy.
New people. Like,
how did that go?
Not great. One, because that's all happening, and two, to piss off their community. I get, like, there's this whole point of like the business side. They're like, well, shit, the queues aren't moving. They skipped some streamers through the queue.
Oh, Jesus.
Which of course pissed off the community. And they came out and talked. They're like, hey, we paid a bunch of money. We need them in the game playing. Which I get for the marketing point. But of course it's going to piss off the community, though. It was a bad decision. Like, at some point, you just got to be like, fine, these people, they don't have to stream our game anymore. We've just wasted a bunch of money, but we fucked up on our launch. So we've got to eat it. And they do. They had to eat it. It runs great now. Everything's back to working fine. They found the server problem that was causing it. They did a database update on the background, and it messed up some, I think they said, page sizing of the database. And so when enough people got on, started doing things, it would just crash the server.
Dang.
So, it was not a good look overall for that first day. But then Saturday, I didn't get to play much until Saturday night, and everything was fine. No queues, you could get in, you could play. Some new skills to try out, which I'm using. And it's just more Path of Exile. I really keep on playing. I just really enjoy this game overall. It's definitely not Diablo. It's not Grim Dawn or these other action RPGs. It's very much its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the thing that gets me every time I play it is just how much they've gone in on the like RNG element of the game and like the itemization, the RNG of itemization. Because everything is like can be itemized and RNG'd and basically slot machined once you even have it, of just like, all right, I'm just gonna reroll stats on this item, see if I can get that like perfect thing. And there's so many different systems working together in that way that it just creates this system where you're like, oh, there's a lot of high end mastery to this game, far more than like Diablo 2 ever got to, or any of these other action RPs, because there's just so much depth you can do with the mechanics they give you. That also puts up a giant barrier of like, hey, to actually understand this game, it's going to take you a long time. And I still don't feel like I fully understand it, but I understand it enough to make it to end game and have fun and know what good items are now, and good items for my build, and like what the best way through the giant skill tree is and what kind of skills I'm looking for. But it's taken a long time to get there. But clearly they have a dedicated audience that keeps coming back. So
that's kind of what I was wondering about, like having, I'm going to throw out a name, like Ninja stream this game. I don't think it was Ninja, but
no.
Someone who doesn't really understand the systems or the depth of it, like, is that a good pitch for your game? Or is it just like, no matter how they play or how they feel about it, getting it on a huge stream is more important?
Getting on a huge stream is more important. And then a lot of those that stream it like that aren't going to badmouth the game. They might say that this isn't for me, but
yeah,
if they're professional and they're taking money about it and they're putting the ad stuff there, they're going to be like, hey, I'm playing this. I don't know if I'll give my opinions or what, but I will play it and I will talk while I'm playing about things that are happening. So I don't know. And no, it was not Ninja. I don't know who the big were that they got, but it was kind of like the first time they ever tried that. It just unfortunately happened when they had this crazy server problem. So
yeah,
right. The owner of the company put out a big post on the Path of Exile subreddit discussing the situation the day after, being like, yep, this is what happened. This is why we made certain decisions. And honestly, so like those decisions were wrong. Like we shouldn't have done that. It was just made hastily in the moment as everyone is freaking out because nothing is working.
Of course.
Because I've been in those situations when servers are dying and everything. It's not the best place to make decisions, I will say. Like,
well, any moment of panic is really...
Yeah, it's pretty much just panic that lasts for hours.
Yeah.
Because nothing works. And you know every minute that it's not working is honestly losing money. And in the fact that they have now paid out huge amounts of money and they're losing that.
Right.
It's so bad. So, it's a thing, but I'm enjoying it. I am not at the end game yet. I haven't played that obsessively, but it honestly is a nice change after so much Monster Hunter Rise, which is such a focused combat game. Like I need to be on when I play Monster Hunter, and it's great. I love it. I don't have to be as on when I play Path of Exile or any action RPG for that point. Like, so there's something nice about just being like chill for that, and I'm probably going to need that going into this next week because work is going to be intense for this next week. So
yeah,
I have like meetings from 10 to 5 every day this week.
Hopefully for good reasons.
No, that's great reasons, and that needs to happen. I mean, I'm on design. Designs, people like, what is to be a game designer? You're in a lot of meetings, you talk a lot, you listen a lot, you write a lot, and talk about what you've written a lot.
Right.
Over and over, rinse and repeat. Over and over and over again, unending.
The exciting life of a game developer.
Yeah, kind of. People are like, you could play games all day. Not really.
No.
I get to sit in Confluence and Word and Excel a lot and make things that theoretically might eventually go into the game. Maybe. But 90% of the time, will never go into the game.
Right. A lot of brainstorms and mock-ups maybe, or...
Yeah, brainstorms, mock-ups, some prototypes that I can do myself. But it's... I mean, That's the glamorous life that I think no one really sits around and talks about, but that's what it is. Most of the
Not
time,
making a
those
documentary
ideas,
about that 90%.
yeah, it's just like, yeah, make ideas, try to sell other people on your ideas, see what excitement, if you can get team buy off on different things, or just, I mean, a lot of times it's just talking about this stuff and seeing what the reaction from other people on the team are.
Right.
Because
You
if other
develop
people
this.
aren't excited about it on the team, the players aren't going to be excited about it. So why
Yeah, it's got
why
to be
continue?
soul. It's got to be soul crushing to bring up an idea to a team and you're like super excited about it, and the team's like, eh.
You have to get used to, like, that's just something you get used to, I think, over time. That's I think when I was younger and was doing this, yes,
Hmm.
I was like, but why aren't they excited about this? I'm excited about this. And now I don't know if it's just jaded and cynical. I'm like, yeah, well, okay, whatever. Next. I'll have another
Right.
idea. Like, there's no, don't get attached to your ideas, basically.
Yeah.
And it's fine. Like, if, like, the ideas and stuff that we're talking about this week don't go anywhere, it's fine. Other cool stuff will probably take its place. So, that's the point. Vet the best ideas. There's dozens and dozens of good ideas, but are they the best ideas for the game?
Right.
It's hard to say. So you only want to do the best things. So
And that's always a hard thing too, because I guess in any creative medium, or even at work, where I'm, teaching and designing programs and curriculum and stuff, you have a ton of good ideas. Then you have to like really polish them and realize some of them are good, maybe for something else, and
yep,
it's not going to work in this specific
yep.
context.
I think that's just part of the creative process that I think you have to be able to get to in a lot of ways, and I think that shows the for people that have been in the creative process a long time and done it a long time tend to get to that place where they're like, yeah, I'm okay with these ideas going away. Like, they're not the best. That's okay.
Right.
And I
Yep.
can't refine it to be the best thing for this. So our energy is better spent on something else.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of music creation the last few weeks with a friend down here, and sit down and start making some stuff. And after a certain, after however many years of doing different kinds of things, you can sit down and after 20 minutes, you're like, this is not going where I need it to go. So you put it away and then do something else. And
Yep.
in the last couple of weeks, I've probably produced like 4 full songs and discarded about 15. And it's like very quickly discard to get to the one that fits. And then you just feel it go. You're like,
Yep.
okay. And you have to get through those 3 to get to the one that's good.
Yep. Absolutely.
So yeah, it's interesting because like those early ones, like there are certain elements that are good, but together they're not.
Yep.
So you like pull one thing out and move forward.
Yep. And those usually are stepping stones to better ideas.
Yep.
So yeah. So I get to start my week of that this
Awesome.
week, which is fine. I just know that by the end of the day, I'm just going to be so brain dead. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lots of meetings in a day. My
lots of
Mondays
meetings,
are always full of meetings. Ugh.
and meetings I have to be on for the most
Mm-hmm.
part. Like, I can't just be an observer to them, taking things in. Like, I actually have to be very active and keeping track of what's happening, and running some of them. So yeah, it's going to be a lot. So Path of Exile is probably what I play
Right.
on those
Less
nights.
focused games, exactly.
Yep, I can just chill with it. Click buttons, watch things die, get loot, rinse,
Watch the numbers
repeat.
go up.
Yep.
So this week I have been playing a couple of things. I got my Xbox back from the in-laws because MLB The Show 21 comes out in 2 days on Tuesday, as we record, and it's quote unquote free on Xbox because I have Game Pass. So I'm choosing to play it there instead of on my PS5, which feels very weird, but it is what it is. But since I have the Xbox back, I've turned it on, and my daughter was like, "What's that game?" And it was Banjo Tooie.
Okay.
So he started playing Banjo Tooie, which I've never played Banjo because I have not beaten Banjo Kazooie. I've played a couple hours. So then the second game, I don't know if you played these games.
I haven't.
You have or have not?
No, have not.
Oh, okay. The second one riffs on the first one. Like it immediately, you start with like a ghost of a character that died in the first one, and he's talking about how basically it sucks that he died because of what you did to him, or you caused his death in some way. And it makes a ton of jokes about the first game, and it's just like I don't understand any of these. But my daughter really likes the bird. So yeah, it looks very much like an N64 game. But we've been playing that. And then I downloaded the Burning Crusade beta
Okay.
and loaded in. That's the only WoW that I've ever played, and that was back in 2009. And it looks like it did in 2009, which is the goal. But it was kind of um, jarring a little bit, where you enter this, rich, what's supposed to be like this rich, full, multiplayer experience, and it's like low res textures, and you get out into the I don't know, the world or whatever, and it's just like enemies floating back and forth on like a path, and it's like, oh man, that's right, games used to be like this. It just felt
Yep.
very much like a game. Like, this is not a living, breathing world. This is here are their tracks, they go back and forth. All right. But it was cool. I definitely felt a little bit of reminiscence of playing this game back then. And just the idea that there's a lot of, just the quests and like the flavor text for the quests. It felt, it kind of plucked on that nostalgia chord a little bit.
Yeah.
I played for half an hour. I was like, okay, I got my fill. I understand what this is. I'm good.
You're like, yep, this is WoW. This is the
Yep,
thing.
this is it. So yeah, that was it. And then I don't think I've played anything. Oh no. You know what? I played Crash 4. It's About Time. For about an hour. And I've never really played Crash. And I
Okay.
remembered very quickly that I don't really like platformers where you run toward or away from the camera.
Right.
I like side scrollers. So I know there's a lot of side scrolling levels to the game as well, but obviously that's like Crash's thing, is toward and away from the camera. So I was like, all right, I will get there eventually. And then the last thing I played, because I have a second PS5 controller now, is Sackboy. And 2-player, you can play as Sack Girl. So my daughter's super excited about Sack Girl, and we ran around playing Sackboy. Great big adventure, and it's such just a clever, fun game. Great music, like great puzzles, great exploration. Unless you're playing with a 3.5-year-old who jumps over the edge and plummets to her death every 5 seconds, and you have to go back and like resurrect her, and it's just like, are you having fun jumping over the cliff over and over again?
Don't know what you're talking about.
Yes,
Why
she
wouldn't
is.
that be fun?
She's having a lot of fun doing that. But she is able to do some more things now. We were able to do a couple of 2-player things that took 2 players to do. Like, she needed to stand on the switch, and I had to stand on the other switch, and she was able to do that. And she's getting better at moving around the 3D space. So that was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to, in a couple of years, when it's staying mainly on the course, playing those kind of games together. And that was my gaming experience this week. The rest of the week was my free time. I was making a lot of music.
Nice.
So yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Seems like it's been a while since you've done that.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've done it with any sort of purpose.
Yeah.
I just kind of noodle around. But I have a friend who, actually, I don't think I've ever met in real life. But it's a friend of a friend who, like, I do hang out in real life. But obviously we don't hang out right now, but we do Thursday Night Rocket League. So he joined us about 4 or 5 months ago, and has been playing with us every Thursday. And we start talking, and he's into music, and so am I, and we start talking about kind of music we listen to, and I'm listening to a lot of lo-fi video game music, like on YouTube, tons of it. And he's like, "What is that?" And I sent him. He's like, "Oh my god, this is amazing." I was like, "Yeah, that's so cool to like." I mean, I listen to it all day, and even if I'm in a meeting, it's like on super, super low. I just hear it in the background a little bit.
Nice.
I'm not sure if I can ever go back. Like, my meetings in person, when I go back to school, but like I have my headphones in, listening just a little bit of lo-fi. But I started making a bunch of some lo-fi, but some other stuff we've been passing back and forth, and it's kind of cool to have a collaboration and
Nice.
building toward a project together. And it's just like, I'm on fire. I'm just like creating like decent. I think I'll add one to a podcast at the end of the podcast next week, but making some pretty decent songs that I think are helping me flex my muscles. Whereas when we get into summer and really starting this project, I think it's going to be pretty good. So yeah, it's been a while since I've done music seriously, and I'm feeling like I've unearthed a part of myself that I've forgotten about.
Oh, that's great. I can't wait to hear some of it.
Yeah, I'll send you some early stuff. It's early stuff. I'll text it to you. Yeah. So this was episode, I think, 288 of Prof and Dev Play Games. Yes, the indie episode. If you like our podcast, please tell a friend. Rate us on your podcast service of choice. And yeah, I'm going to check out some indies this next week, at least the demos for a couple of those games, and hopefully report back next week.
Cool.
All right, folks. Well, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Later, everyone.